Israel has driven Palestinians out from the beginning of the country and has assaulted them and ghettoized them on the West Bank, but also in Gaza. And there's always been resistance among Palestinians, and this is the latest phase of resistance, October 7th, but it was very brutal and barbaric. It was an attack mostly on civilians, very complicated. I've been writing about the different parts of it that I could find in reports and all. It had to be stopped. But what Israel's doing in Gaza is unbelievable. It's an overreach. It's an overkill. And some have called it genocide. So I'm against the war in Gaza. I'm for a negotiated settlement where a Palestinian state is created, a ceasefire, but more, much more, because it's going to happen again, all this, and it has been happening, and I've written about it for years. Ghettoized and thrown off their land, like any people would. And the oppressor never likes the way that the oppressed resist. But the oppressed resist in ways that the oppressor doesn't like them to resist because they're weak compared to the oppressor. And then the oppressor brings about a tremendous amount of violence, which is very modern and state-sponsored and highly sophisticated technologically. And then they accuse the oppressed of being uncivilized and unwashed, when the damage done by the oppressor is much more. Well, the U.S. is giving a red light to Israel on some things and a green light on others. It's like a green-red light. It's saying, go ahead, don't go too far. Go ahead, don't go too far. Keep going, don't. And the U.S. is supplying Israel with billions of dollars of arms and has always done that. So the U.S. is an enabler of the destruction of Gaza, but it's also trying to negotiate Israel not to go too far. So it's in a very interesting position, also navigating it in the Arab world, which is also part of this situation, where the Arab world wants Palestinians contained too, but not decimated. And they want alliances with the United States and the benefits that come from it. So they're also, in a sense, enablers. So the U.S. is playing both sides of the fence, but in general, without the U.S. support, Israel would have to stop much sooner. And even this truce coming up is a sign of Israel having to stop for some to appease the U.S. And then this congressional actions on whether to give more aid to Israel and all, will influence very much how far Israel can go. As long as you have the situation of oppression and occupation, Hamas or any other group under another name is going to come up. And Israel knows that, and the United States knows that. So there's no eradication of resistance. They can bomb Gaza into oblivion, but you have 2 million people there, and you'll have organized resistance over time. So there'll be a negotiated settlement. The only question is how many people will die and how much will be destroyed. It's a terrible situation.